definitely. That's what I sub for at least. I want some attention from the streamer. All right, Wardy. Enough with these terrible sellouts. As in the bottom left spawning as the blue Protoss player, we're gonna have Mr. Zest, who currently is teamless. Recently left, or at least split up with Raise Your Edge Gaming. Now has started streaming and advertising a little bit and said, hey, I need a team. So currently teamless. Ooh, did you see that little... I'm not even sure what that patrol was supposed to see. Patrol is such a weird area, but I guess in theory he could have seen an SCV somewhere. I was gonna check the right side. Is he gonna go back? I don't think... Is this gonna go into an actual scout, or is he just looking for a proxy reaper? What do you think?
I don't really know. I guess he's just looking for the proxy. It feels like he's been very cautious. Now he's going to check even further out on the left-hand side, little by little. He'll advance his information gathering here. So, yeah, just being very cautious in the very early stages of the game.
Yeah, he's being extremely cautious here. Still gonna go scout across the map as well, so it's a little bit mining he's gonna end up losing there. Let's take a look at that cybercore timing. Zest throwing it down at the 125. That's it's not bad for having a low ground pylon, Wardy. I always say if it's before 127 and you play the low ground pylon, you've done a pretty decent job. The cybercore, it means that your adept is gonna pop out at an okay time. Okay, it's not gonna be the fastest, but it's gonna be at an okay time. So it's gonna be pretty happy with that. Pylon goes down in the main base. You think we're gonna see a battery in the main, adept chronoed across the map? Most likely, right? It's kind of what we're expecting.
Yeah, especially with Gateway on the low ground in general, right? Just gives you that little bit of a speedier move across the map. So go adept, chrono, rallies across, and that's going to be the plan. You know, we go into this series. I don't know what you're expecting out of this, but when they played in the groups, because this is a rematch from the groups, same as TY Clem, the first game of their series actually ended in a draw. And honestly, the second and third game that they ended up playing could have ended in a draw as well, because they just base traded each other every single time they got a chance. So, very aggressive mid games. Excited to see if that continues in this series today. And Cure's already spicing up with a bit of Marauder action.
Okay, I am at a loss for words here, honestly, as we have the first Reaper killing 2 workers. That's really odd. That doesn't really happen at high level. Usually you get a battery. I guess he was expecting a Marine first opener. This Marauder shouldn't be able to get this adept. He's trying his absolute hardest though to get it, and the movement of Zest wasn't too crisp. That SCV did end up dying in the natural, so that's nice. But yeah, 2 worker kills in the early game. Yeah, that's odd. That's a little bit painful, actually. I'm not gonna be lying about that. I love the Marauder follow-up, by the way. You send out the Reaper, can skip the bunker with it if you open with 2 Marauder, got concussive shell now as well. I think what's going to end up happening here, because there's still no battery in the main base, we'll see the Reaper jump into the main, then the Marauders go into the natural, might be able to pick off another Stalker, or maybe even trade 2 Marauders for 2 Stalkers. Best case scenario, everything goes into the main base, and he actually got a hit on the Reaper, which is really bad.
Yeah, I mean, these Marauders, though, are still going to have a pretty good time against Stalkers, right? Another Stalker just pops out, and I guess it's going to be just 1 Stalker going down, so not that bad in the end. Yeah, okay. Well, Zest cleans that up. The Reaper doesn't get to make a play at all, and Cure just loses out on his initial investment.
Yeah, we're gonna see. This is a reactionary robo. I'm almost certain. I'm not quite sure when it went down, but it felt pretty late. I wasn't quite paying attention to the timing there. Was it after he scouted the Marauder? I feel like it was. I mean, this robo finished at freaking 350 or something like that. That's not a normal timing for tech to finish. So yeah, he's gonna go for a Colossi drop most likely, which I like against against what Cure's doing. Wait, maybe not Colossi drop, but just straight up Colossi. This is such a fast robo bait, but we're not seeing a Prism, so he's just gonna go play defensive Colossi.
Yeah.
This is... So the reason why this might be seeing a small comeback soon is because we've been seeing so many 3-Rex openers coming out of Terran, right? And usually you don't want to play Robo because you struggle so much against Raven, you struggle against Banshee, you struggle against anything basically 1-1-1-ish. But here, no, I love it against this. We see the opening with two Vikings because Cure thought the same thing as me. He's like, oh, Robo, I know this is going to be the Colossi drop. But no, Zest actually just going for defensive Colossi. He might follow this up with like a 6 or 7 gate push though, with 2 Colossi, then follow it up with a Prism and then try to go onto the 3rd base. Look how defensive Cure is, really with just a 2-1-1. Like this is not what you want to be doing with a 2-1-1. Build double turrets as well. Oi, 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 oi.
Yeah, he truly believes in, like you said, the Colossus drop. And if there's anyone that does a Colossus drop as well, it's Zest, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
He's been one of the players to really bring that back a bit, and a lot of people would be like, "You're crazy," but Zest says, "Why the hell not?"
Yeah, Zest and SOS are really the only 2 guys that like doing it. We have a 3rd Rex tank production. 3rd CC is gonna go down, but damn, it is late. Holy crap. That's a late 3rd CC. The aggression that we're gonna see out of Cure is gonna be late. It's going to be weak. I mean, he's kind of lucky that Zest respected him so much. He went 2 extra gateways before he threw down the Forge and the Twilight. If he would have gotten the Forge and the Twilight on 2 gates here, by the time that Cure actually moves across the map, Zest probably would have had charge and +1 done, or at least charge done. Now there might be some potential to do something with these tanks, but oh, this is not a good opener here for Cure. This is awful. Absolutely awful.
And what do you even do at this stage, right? It's like, can you even go across the map against this? There's going to be 3 Colossi out. You've got 1 tank, couple Viking. Like, none of it's enough to really get any damage done. The best you could hope for is maybe you can pull Zest around because his drop defense might be a bit weaker than usual, but you know, then his drop defense, he also has just more Colossus to split around in different places as well, so he can just split his army more easily than usual. So I don't see what Cure does aggressively, and he's only just now, he's so desperate to move the 3rd out because it's so late, he doesn't even morph it into an orbital first. That really shows you the desperism, you know, the desperation from him to just get that 3rd base finally up and running.
Yeah, the desperism is definitely
The desperism. I corrected myself right away. You're not meant to bring it up. Yeah.
All good. Yeah, just to show how comfortable Zest is currently is the fact that he added a 2nd Forge already. Usually, you don't see the 2nd Forge added until the toss feels comfortable. It's like, hey, I'm safe, I'm good, I'm fine here. And he added it like basically 40 seconds after that first Forge. Like that is a big tell to how comfortable Zest is in this game. He's on 67 workers, he's on 6 gas. We're barely 8 minutes in and he has a 4th base on the way. Prism starting up as well. 2nd Robo is finishing up. Like Zest, the supply right now doesn't really do justice to the position Zest is currently in, because he is in a great position. He's had the eco that he wanted the entire game already. He's going into upgrades that most Protoss players dream of having at like the 930 mark or something like that. And he's throwing down a Dark Shrine. He has a 2nd Robo. This is something, by the way, that Zest has been doing very often. Once we see the 2nd Robo go down, a lot of Protoss players, they'll start adding disruptors, right? They start maybe adding an extra Prism, disruptors, maybe an extra Observer. But Zest, he just pumps out freaking Immortals. I have no clue why, but I love it. It's just, he's just so much power in his army, but in my opinion, a lot of the time, disruptors are just better. I've seen it be more useful in a lot of situations, but Zest is like, no, I like my Immortals, and we're gonna see an army with like 9, 10 Immortals, and he's gonna set up an engagement, and he's freaking gonna go for it, all right? He's gonna go for it. I think it was it in Last Chance that we saw him against Clem on Romanticide, where he took probably the worst engagement in history with like legit 9 Immortals, almost rallying into tanks and Marauders, and absolutely getting blasted in that fight.
I think it was.
Yeah. Let's just hope for Zest it's not going to be another fight like that, but honestly, he's in a great position. His 2-2 is going to finish pretty rapidly, and you see how scared Cure is. I think Cure realizes, like, okay, really the only way I'm going to be doing anything is either when I'm maxed or if he's attacking into me, because he's extremely afraid of moving across the map. He's on 1-1. He's getting the upgrade, by the way, the shockwave upgrade, and it is on Cure here to attack before +2 attack finishes for Zest, because once that finishes, this army of Zest is just gonna get such a boost. There's so much damage output already here. What are we on? 3 Colossi, 5 Immortals, 23 Zealots, which are being controlled as a single unit, just kind of moving separate, as a separate entity from the army of Zest. And I think we're just gonna see a push almost here. It wouldn't surprise me if we're just gonna see a very aggressive Zest just kind of move in and try to break this fort location.
Yep, he's just going to make that move, and honestly, I don't see why the heck not. I mean, his army is so powerful, right? These Immortals are going to absolutely blast through the frontline Marauders if that's what this is going to look like, and we're going to see a few workers going down as a little bit of harassment on that right-hand side, but here we go. Fight breaks out on the right, on the left, sorry, and but none of the tanks are in position over here, but a couple of good EMPs come down, and that's enough to scare Zest off for the moment.
Yeah, oh my god, how many DTs? There's 12 DTs he just warped in. What in the world is that?
That is a I want to go and keep on fighting, I guess, sort of move. He has got DT blink now, so I mean, there's a missile turret right there. What is the plan? He's gonna just jump on top of the army. He is. He's gonna get onto the back lines of this. EMPs go down on the DTs though, so you get rid of those extremely quickly. I mean, there's a planetary force to the top side, which he will kill off, but now the bio can chase. Because you don't have disruptors, you have no way to stop this bio army chasing you down as you retreat.
Yeah, not a great start of the fight there for Zest. He does manage to snipe the fort base, and he still has the upgrade lead, but half of his army was initially attacking that planetary, half his army was attacking something else. We're seeing a float here that is known as the Zest Bank, and it's painful. He's still in a really good position because he just was so far ahead, but he can't afford too many fights like that, honestly. Like he got that planetary, but for a second it looked like Cure could almost walk over him. I think if Cure has to win that battle, we see a similar situation as he had against Clem in that last chance, and we're seeing kind of one-dimensional play coming out of Zest, where he just tries to kind of blast into his opponent's siege line and hope that he kills him, but the setups haven't even been that great. Now we finally see a little bit of a run by here. How was Cure aware of this? He was moving his army there. Cure's game instinct is absolutely phenomenal in this mid-game situation. Sensor Tower is now showing the move out here coming out of Zest. 2-2 just finishes up here for Cure. Good EMPs.
Yeah, I mean, that's a heck of a blink from Zest as well. Completely confident that he wants to fight into this. Yes, these Archons from the right-hand side, they're going to start getting a lot of the SCVs. The Colossi will go down, though. I mean, it's just the front line of Zealots and still hasn't quite been broken. And with the extra Zealots moving through, Zest has the money to reinforce with a lot more Zealots. And obviously, the Warp Prism is right there. So that will be the issue, as a couple of these tanks just not going to be that influential either. And at this stage, obviously, reinforcements of Cure in a little bit of trouble, but they're going to clean out the Archons. Again, the issue, I guess, is you lose 22 SCVs, but then actually you lose 22 SCVs in a world where you're actually ahead on workers by in a big way going into the fight. Losing the orbital, though, that's going to be a little bit more costly and a little bit more difficult to recover from.
Was he legit on 90 workers?
Yeah, he was on 90 workers.
Jesus.
Especially when he didn't have a planetary as well, right? Like,
yeah, that's
kind of.
Yeah, I was looking at the supply and I'm looking at the armies. I'm like, this isn't matching up in my head, you know? Sadly, I didn't manage to let my eyes wander over the worker supply, but now that fight makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, Zest is just kind of brute forcing himself in over here. He's gonna blink forward once again with the DTs. We're gonna see. Oh my god, what a blink! Just blink everything forward.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows he's ahead. He knows he's winning, but still, these fights are not it, honestly.
Prism goes down just after the warping completes. Yeah, I mean, the fights are horrible, but they are still killing a lot of SCVs, right? So Zest just knows he can back away and do very well rebuilding. It's just, I mean, just why blink the Stalkers? And you can just keep them back. They'll still trade out. Like, they'll still do damage. And then you can probably blink them away and keep more of them alive. It's maybe a bit overeager.
Yeah, he's kind of keeping Cure alive in an artificial way here by taking kind of bad fights. His mineral income is quite good. He's only on 6 gas, or well, only on 6 gas. He's on 6 gas, which is plenty for Protoss, especially if you're done upgrading. Like, you don't really need that much more. You're just gonna be floating a lot of gas usually. And he actually didn't have a lot of workers for a very long time in this game. He was floating between 68, 69, and 73, 74 workers for an extremely long time, which means sure you're gonna build up some mineral bank, but it's not like he can be working off of like legit 22 gates, you know? This is still 14 gateway, sure that's a lot, but you kind of have to be careful in your fights though, and he lost a lot of fights. I think he's going to be able to pick up this fight at least. Cure is perhaps a little bit too trigger happy here, goes in, loses his arm, and Zest picks up game number 1, but if I'm a Zest fan, I am, which I am, I'm not completely satisfied with how that first game plays out. I mean, this wasn't a small lead that he got in the early game, right? Cure completely misread this situation. His early game build didn't work out at all. And we go into a mid-game phase in which Zest is so far ahead that it kind of becomes difficult to lose it. And he tried hard with the fights. The fights really weren't it. Now, I wonder what happens in a game where Cure isn't light years behind in the early game. If we have a game where it's a little bit more even, I'm afraid as a Zest fan.
No, I'm
I don't know. It's he made it a tight game, and that's sure that's a compliment to Cure as well, but that mainly was because of the back of those poor fights there by Zest. That's the mailman decides it's time to deliver some packages to my house. We have Cure in the top right as the blue Terran here. Not going to be feeling too bad, I think, after that last game, Wardy.
No, I feel like he looks at it and he knows where it went wrong. I mean, horrible build order initially for him, right? Horrible setup. And obviously takes on Zest, our red Protoss bottom left, who took that setup and obviously ran with it, took it to a victory in the end. And it'd be interesting to see how game 2 goes, because obviously Cure, maybe if he gets a better mid-game. We never saw Cure getting to go across the map, right? Like, he was on the map at one point, but he was never able to force a fight on Zest's side. And I feel like if that's the situation, that's where you just know the Protoss player is in a very comfortable spot.
Yeah. I mean, you just know that Cure, the moment he just kind of sits back and just kind of prays to stay alive, you know Terran's in a bad spot. Very often if Terran is ahead, they want to be on the map, they want to be the one dishing out the damage, and here, the moment toss is allowed on the map in general, it's a bad sign for the Terran player.
I think Irene's stuck outside, mate. She's asking you in chat.
Actually?
yeah. Like, unless she's just memeing.
She's actually calling me. Okay, I'll go save her. Be right back.
just the mailman delivering some packages, guys. Alright, Proby is scouting around and being a little bit annoying on the natural expansion as you see the cybernetics core building up here from Zest back at home. So the setup pretty standard thus far, and obviously we'll see exactly how things want to develop over the next couple of minutes here. So looking to set this up, looking to get this one beginning. And yeah, I mentioned kind of that previous series in the group stage, and I do feel like if Cure gets off to a bit of a better start and they can go kind of head-to-head against each other, you know, in the mid-game, there's a very good chance that we end up seeing a lot of these kind of like base trading scenarios. One guy commits, the other guy just says, screw this, I don't want to fight you, I want to fight your base. And that was very tense, the best of 3 that they played during the group stages. Definitely would like to see at least one game like that, because I feel like that kind of crisis management of being in a base trade, how do you respond, how do you when do you pull the workers away, etc. That sort of stuff is always exciting. I don't want a full best of 5 of it, but I wouldn't mind seeing another game or two like that mixed in along the way. Maybe something to watch out for, as this game is much more regular on the build. Try it into Robo, maybe even thinking about a bit of 4-gate blink pressure this time around with that current setup. So it's going to be moving into that. Meanwhile, Cure looks like he's going to set up for a pretty regular Widow Mine drop in these initial stages, so he's going to get the Widow Mines producing, get that ready to go, and we'll be using that as his bit of initial map control.
Is in a little bit of trouble here, Wardy, but managed to somehow sneak by, get out. What was the opener here?
Nothing really too exciting. As Dark Shrine. I was talking about Blink and Foregate, but it's actually a Dark Shrine. No, it was just very expand versus expand. Nice and quick, like basically like super standard stuff. He did not go for a Reaper though. He went Marine Reactor, I think.
Okay, okay. Yeah, usually when you see this, it was Twilight into Robo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's either going to be Blink or DT drop. And on this map, DT drop is very, very good, even against Reaper, because you can hide the shrine with the first pylon, even though you use it for a wall. So it's really, really popular just to do the Twilight Robo style on this map, and then you can just kind of follow up with whatever. Now you see the Prism is out and about. Was this single Adept? No, the one Adept died already, so it's double Adept into... Oh my god, he sees the Prism, he sees the Prism. I don't think he noticed. No, he saw it. He saw it.
No, he's pulling back, right? Like, I think he knows. Starts up a Raven right now as well, which maybe was part of the plan. The Starport was on that tech lab already, so sets that up. Zest is getting ready to warp in, and at the same time, we'll have to deal with this triple Widowmine drop coming across from Cure right now. So that's going to fly in, drop into the natural, and start to look for some pros. But Zest, he knows about the Widowmine drop as well, so he's going to deal with this well.
Triple DT in the natural. There's nothing here. There was the two Marines, and they died. This is gonna cost him a crap ton of workers. Mining the main base is not burrowing yet. Did he manage to save all of the DTs? Now the follow-up here is going to be an Archon, right? How did Zest only lose 2 workers against 3 mines? What?
I mean, just Zest magic, right? This one in the main base is still not fired, that's why.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no! The misplay. That was... Okay, well, this game went really, really well for Zest until the moment where he just thought he could kill the Widowmine. It's never a good idea, is it? This never works.
It really never works. And if it worked, is it really worth the heart rate of 275? I don't think so, Artie. Holy crap. There's no ping excuse either. Is this being played on Korea? That's a big freaking deal, because this game, I didn't want to say it was over, but it was looking really bad here for Cure. And now Cure is doing something that I love from Terrence, is when they do a follow-up push, because TOS has no units. Very often they even go into straight Robo Bay from this. They go into 4 gas, then take a 3rd base. Not this time. Zest actually decided to go into a faster 3rd off of 3 gas, which funnily enough is actually better against these pushes, because you're gonna have more gate units ready. Usually you don't have any gate units ready because all of your resources are tied up into this Colossi that you're trying to push out now. This Archon drop in the main base is doing a lot of damage, and because that Archon drop is there, Cure says, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna push into your natural. We can't lose the Raven though. That would mean that DTs are too good. That's that siege tank in the back. That was not being controlled right there. Just a randomly sieged up bunker going down. 17 workers went down against this Archon drop. Archon drop is being recalled back home. 29 workers against 51. Zest quickly pulling away all of his workers. If he loses the natural base, how would the situation be? I'm not sure if we're even going to need to think about it, because Zest is absolutely crushing this once again. Oh my god.
Oh my god, why did the Archon not die? I thought that was going to go down to the tank shot, but it survives, the natural survives, and obviously Zest still has the 3rd base up, right? So he's going to turn this around. 21 workers ahead. This did not do anything from Cure in the end, right? Like, this looked so promising. It looked like it should have done a lot, but I guess just wasn't able to pull the trigger and make the move fast enough.
I like the move. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, Wardy here. It felt like a good idea in my head as well. So yeah, that's nice, because he doesn't have a 3rd CC, right? So it's not like, sure, he killed a lot of workers, but he's probably still gonna fall behind in eco at some point, and his 3 Rex was going to be really late. So if you wait for that, it's going to be tricky, because you took so much damage early on. You have no infrastructure whatsoever, and even though you killed 12 workers, there still is infrastructure for Zest already, because he just got it faster. Zest just did the damage quicker, so that infrastructure is already done. And now Cure's situation is not looking great. Is there still a chance though? Is there still a chance for Cure to do something with his 3 racks? Because if he goes into a macro game from here, we're going to have a repeat of game number 1. I feel like it. He needs to do something before Zest gets up to 5 bases and 2 upgrades, because if he waits for his 3rd CC to finish up before he starts making moves, that's what's going to happen. Oh my god, this Prism of Zest is going to find these 2 medevacs moving out. when it rains, it pours for Cure, and oh my god, is it pouring at this point. He's gonna get the prism, but he doesn't need to deny Zest his damage. He needs to do a lot of damage himself right now, and that's not going to be possible. Blink Stalkers moving across the map actually going to find out these Marines as well. Zest is... His early game is so ridiculously good. It feels unfair. His vision was mediocre. He is trying to expand his vision bit by bit. We see a pylon on the left side. We see a fort base on the right. Man, Zest is in a great position. You know, Zest is in a good spot when he's ahead in supply and he has 1k in the bank.
Yep. He's he's got that money to spend, and obviously if he's able to spend it, it's just gonna really expedite his winning of this game, because this attack is coming, and then obviously if he can just jump on this, and I like what he's done, right? He's just built up immortals. He's making sure he's got some tech in this army. Honestly, he's like a zealot warp in a way. Like if he just, how many gates has he got? 9. If he adds 9 zealots to this, I do not see what the heck QS army is meant to do.
Yeah,
top of the main, I guess, but that's about it.
That's a big Stalker warp in. Cure's going to be able to trade 8 Marines and a medevac for a single Stalker. It's going to get a second one as well, because Zest temporarily forgot that Blink existed. He was looking at something else, ends up losing 2 workers as well, but I mean, these are trades that Zest is happy to take. I mean, he's long distance mining from his fort, while Cure is too afraid to even move towards his own third base. Barracks 4 and 5 are about to finish up. Ghost Academy is going down. This is looking like a last-ditch effort coming out of Cure, who's on 51 SCVs against the 65 workers out of Zest. You know what would be the ultimate Zest play here is to break your opponent's third base while transitioning into double forge Robo Bay, having 4 bases and the other guy is just barely flying over his third. I wouldn't even mind it too much in this case here, Wardy. I wouldn't even mind it too much, as +1 ground armor is about to finish up, +1 attack is already done as well here for Zest. This is just looking so dark for Cure once again.
Well, wouldn't mind Job gets a few probes, but he's going to need that to do, you know, that to happen a few times over to get into a better position here. Zest itself just a mega flank. Zealots on the left, the rest of the army over on the right. Stalkers might even blink into the main base because, well, why not? There's absolutely nothing here to defend it, so they're going to get in. Reactor dead on the starport to begin with. He's just going to go add-on hunting. And obviously, if Kia sends too much to deal with this, the rest of the armies can move on forward. Good force field catching a few units for free. The Zealots are going to come in from the left side. They're just going to flank onto some siege tanks, and yeah, there's just not enough of anything anywhere for Cure.
Yeah, Zest definitely learning from his mistake, because this engagement was an absolute masterclass in how to push your advantage into a win, as Zest just moves forward with the rest of his army right now. He's going to actually lose a couple of Stalkers, but I don't actually think Zest is going to carry. He lost a bunch of workers as well during this fight. I'm not sure what has been happening, but I think it was a mine drop. Yeah. He lost a bunch, no? Like, a bunch of guys that died, but I mean, it's...
Nah, he lost 5 to the first time it dropped, and he just lost 4 more, so... Okay. He's lost 10 over like a couple of minutes. He's just not building a single pro. He only just started rebuilding now, so... Yeah. This has way too much, overwhelming. Like you say, a beautiful engagement, right? And using the Stalkers to pull units away as well, and then being able to bring them back into the fight if they were needed. He just set it up beautifully, executed. He's just playing a little too good.
I don't know. I feel like the situations that Cure finds himself in aren't necessarily bad for him. But then the handling of Zest in these situations just seems to be better. The decisions seem to be better. And even as an observer, if I agree with what Cure is doing, Zest is like, no, that's actually not correct. Cure, you're supposed to stay home here, defend these Archon drop, and it just completely blasts him. I mean, the unit control of Zest is absolutely fantastic. Like, these early game shenanigans that he's doing is beautiful to watch. His positioning, his knowledge of when things will hit him. I mean, we kind of skipped over it, but not losing DTs on the other side of the map, only losing 2 workers initially, when you're playing DT drop against a triple mine drop is insanely hard, because you're only gonna have the units that you build before warp gate finishes, which is 2 units, and he lost 1 adept. He had 1 adept to defend against 3 mines, and he loses 2 workers. Sure, afterwards he makes the worst decision in his life and loses 12 workers and an observer, but it's absolutely crazy how quick he is at defending and just doing good things on the other side of the map at the same time. Zest truly is one of the fastest TOS players. Like, he's insanely quick in these situations. He's good at the control there, and he's just a little bit too fast for Cure at this point. And Yeah, it's painful to see because these are just early game wins. This is first 6-7 minutes, and Zest is like bada beam, bada boom. Now it's my game, and Cure kind of just needs to tap out, and that's what's happening. I mean, the first game Cure managed to somehow extend his life by forcing Zest into some of the worst engagements I've seen, but the second game Zest just, I mean. That was actually a masterclass in how to engage, right? Blinks in the main, forces away the defense on the tanks and just crushes the tanks from two sides, blinks down again, and it just picks up the free win, basically. I did like that. I did like that a lot.
Yeah, some beautiful moves. Zest is, you know what it is? Zest just kind of peaking at the moment again. Like, when I watch him play, like, I know he's good, but, like, he doesn't strike me as, like, oh my god, like, he's gonna go out and win things, right? But then he comes into these matches and he just, like, plays freaking phenomenal. You know, we're talking about Zest so far in these playoffs, by the way, who is, if I'm not mistaken, has not dropped a map, right? Like, he is
trio Rainer, trio, Ino?
Yeah, trio Reno, trio Ino, now 2-0 up against Cure. Like, this is a hell of a run, mate. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, Zest has these periods where he looks absolutely unstoppable. It's great that he's been streaming as well. His first person is insane to watch. He is lightning quick, and very often on very little information, he has perfect unit movement. It's so difficult to copy him because his unit movement is absolutely impeccable. This is the build, by the way, he's been spamming to death recently in online tournaments, on his stream as well. It's the two-gate blink into Robo, couple of chronos onto that Twilight Council. I think this is just double Warp Gate unit, and he tends to scout with at first Adept and then just leave everything at home. Gateway wall, and he just takes it from here, and he is so good with this. His early game with this is it's just insane. You just love to see. You actually just love to see it. He'll warp in a Sentry and a Stalker here. He actually should have his third pylon should be going down already. He's gonna get Stalker. Okay. This is new. I'm not aware of this one. Usually you get Sentry Stalker because your Robo is so late. He gets no pylon on the third base yet. He's cutting a lot of workers here as well. This is yeah. This is new. I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah. Do you think is it going to turn into like a bunch of aggression, or if you had to make a projection?
Yeah, there's a prism on the way. So off of 2 gates, huh? So
that's what I'm looking at as well, right? Like
he's gonna have continuous production. He's gonna get a lot of stalkers. There's gonna be like 8-7 stalkers. His plan is to clear the medevac, counter-attack, and it's gonna be a counter-attack, Wardy. It's going to be one heck of a counter-attack. Blink is done. The mines have burrowed. He can't really blink into this. This is 2-3 workers that are going to go down. Oh my god. Cure tried to pick that up. Cure's crazy, man. But
yeah. He did not want to let it die. He wanted to keep it going, but it was a good blink with the Stalkers right toward the medevac and making sure if they did go in the medevac, he had full targeted for that. So Full Probe's dead. He's going to move across the map now with these Stalkers. The Prism is there, so a couple extra will warp in, and defensively, Cure is well set up. Marines and tank in the main, the bunker on the natural. I think at most here we're really just looking at an opportunity for Zest to maybe get a few SCVs if they try and repair a bunker or so.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure actually what this is going to do. I think he's going to blink up. No? Okay, he decides not to. Bunker downstairs, looking pretty solid. Good defense so far back here.
Really making sure that not much will happen from Zest's army. He's just going to sit back. He's got the tanks that he needs, and yeah, Zest won't achieve anything with this really, right? And he's going to take double gas now on the third base, so that's kind of a late double gas on the third, right? I mean, he is only on 2 gases all this time, allowing him to really kind of just power up into a lot of units, I guess. And now he's just going to go into 4 gases overall, but yeah, definitely later than what you'd usually see.
Wardy, I think this game is the one game where Cure is actually feeling pretty good.
Yeah?
You know? Ooh, how's these 4 stalkers doing damage? You know what? Let me just stop speaking for 10 seconds and wait what happens in the next 10 seconds, because you'll see Zest blink into the natural, kill 15 workers, and be so far ahead that Cure can't do anything anymore. But I'm actually liking Cure's position. Sure, Zest is up in workers, but Cure is going to have an extremely big army. Zest doesn't have his infrastructure yet, which we usually do see. He's going into Storm to kind of offset that late infrastructure. And it's like, hey, I need to survive. There's going to be a crap ton of Marines. Please do note, not a single Marauder is out yet. 2 mines are on the way here. Tank in the main base. There's going to be 2 tanks. There's going to be a Raven. Without Storm, this is a useless mission to try and defend for Zest. With Storm and a pure Marine army, that's definitely going to be possible.
Yeah, the Storm going to be complete, and then we do just have the one thing that'll look great for Cure is just going to be those 1-1 upgrades, though. So if you can avoid the Storms, this army is going to kind of rapidly disappear. But of course, avoiding Storms is much more easily said than done. I do feel like if Cure can just get up to a few ghosts, this is the kind of army from Zest that can just absolutely melt in seconds, though.
Yeah, this is really going to be a very thin line. I like the drop in the natural there with the 2 Storms. Does reveal that he has Storm, which will help if Cure decides to push out. But I'm not sure what Cure is planning on doing here. He seems to be completely fine with just taking a 3rd base. He's going to be going into an armory right now. 2nd eBay is done as well, so it just seems to be fine going into a longer game. Zest already does have a 4th though. So, I don't know. I really was expecting a push here coming out of Cure.
Stalker's pulled back into the Storm, going to help the zone the Marines away. So doing a good job of that, and just going to have one more maybe in a moment or two. The Marines still backing off. To the center of the map, Cure is going to launch an attack once again. So making his way across there as the double Robo sets up in the front. So he's going to end up on triple Robo to produce Colossus. So, I mean, what a complete 180 on the tech.
Yeah, complete 180 on the tech. Once again, we have the Templar drop going into the 3rd base. Going to be able to get 5, 6, 7 workers for a 2nd time. I don't understand how Zest is doing it, but he's once again up 30 supply. He still has 1k in the bank as well, even though he's on 10 gates. And he's going to spend a crap ton of that money now once those 2 robos finish. So it does make a little bit of sense why he's floating, but he was floating like 2k earlier. I have no clue how this guy is staying alive in an even early game and then just seemingly just gets light years ahead, kind of out of nowhere. These upgrades are really late though, aren't they?
Are you surprised he's making disruptors? Because I'm kind of surprised he's making disruptors.
I am, yeah. I guess triple robo disruptors makes some sense if all you really have is a single attack upgrade. Because otherwise Cure might have a really scary timing with 2-2, right? Like, if you're only working with +1, that could be tricky. Now we have a couple of Storms being thrown down. Yeah, the upgrades for Zest are very, very late. He's starting 2-1 now. There's going to be a 2-2 timing here for Cure, which if he hits it right, if he hits it hard, that's just going to be rough to defend. It's going to be very, very rough to defend, and these disruptors are going to help him out. This is an army consisting of mainly Stalkers, and then disruptors with basically providing the backbone here, right? But disruptors aren't much of a backbone. There's nothing here that really says, hey, I can hold my ground. I can just straight up fight you and hold my ground. This is a very flimsy army that Zest has. A lot of damage output, but very little tanking ability. And that's scary to control.
I mean, he's just going to go through the center of the map, so he's looking to just force a fight. But then Cure's on the upper right, but Cure's army on the upper right is not exactly...
It's tiny.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 3 ghosts and like it's like a drop of units, right? It's really not that much. I'm actually worried that if this army gets caught, he's in some trouble. Zest seems to know it's up here. He seems to have caught wind of it, so he moves up, and Cure is going to back away. Cure's now going to move out on the left side. So trying to play with 2 different armies. Zest knows about it. His map control is fantastic, and he's got the Prism to counterattack as well, which right now it's a prime time. You know, Cure is on the map with 2 different armies. He's got some units at home, sure, but he's not got a ton of units, and the 4th base isn't a planter yet.
I think it's plenty of units, Wardy. I don't want to poop on your parade, but the 2 Vikings and the
I didn't see those ones, actually. Yeah, when I look at that group of units, I do not disagree. Yeah. I didn't think there was anything in the natural. I completely saw wrong. Because somehow the Prism supply is for the moment, but Marines should intercept.
Oh, it's over. Yeah. It's over for the Prism. Did pull back the left side of the army, though. I'd be surprised if Zest manages to get anything done. He's going into carriers right now, double Cybercore chrono boosting out upgrades. More batteries coming out as well. He's staying on 4 base for now while making this transition. And honestly, Wardy, I like that, okay? because you don't want to spread yourself too thin while you're transitioning here. He's on 8 gas already. He has the army he wants. What is it? It is 4 disruptors only?
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of cannons. It's a weird setup that Zest has here. If you look at this army, this does not look like an army you'd feel comfortable moving on the map. But like this army freaking dies against EMPs and Marauders. But once these carriers are out, I guess it's kind of a different game. We have Liberators coming out. Cure kind of unaware of the transition that's happening on the other side of the map as 3 carriers are out. There's 2 more on the way. If Zest manages to hide the fact that he has carriers until the 6 carriers are out, I mean, Cure's just going to be in a little bit of trouble now. There's triple starport, which is nice. There's a crap ton of CCs coming out as well, and even once those carriers are out, moving across the map is going to be tricky. Cure's surprised that there's no 5th base, right? I mean, he's looking at this, he's like, wait, every single game your 5th base was going down like the 9-minute mark, and right now we're 14 or 13 minutes in game. And you don't have a 5th yet. What's going on here? Did he see the carriers there? I think he might have, no? Viking start immediately.
Yeah. I guess he caught a glimpse of it. I actually didn't think he did, but maybe with the Viking start he did kind of figure it out, but I'm not convinced that I mean, what's this going to be? Like 5 Vikings is up against 6 carriers already.
Oh, there's 7 Vikings out already, though. 3 more Vikings on the
Where
way.
did
It's
they
10
come
Vikings.
from? Oh my god.
Look. Yeah. Cure is a magician when it comes to the air units. You just catch them out, he has them when they need to be there. This is such a weird game, and I honestly have no clue what's going to happen. Carrier versus Viking Ghost usually is a very thin line between TOS losing 3 supply and Terran losing 3 supply. You know, there seems to be almost no in between where the fight is really close. Very often it's like, oh wait, TOS was slightly too late with the storms or slightly too late with the disruptors. He loses, or it's, oh, Terran missed an EMP and caught a storm on like half of his Vikings, and then Terran just kind of loses. We have Templar in a prison, we have a crap ton of carriers here, but the standing army of Zest is once again so freaking flimsy. These storms are so important here, like so extremely important. If these storms hit, this fight is going to look extremely one-sided. But if the storms don't hit and these disruptors don't get any good connections at all, this is a big army of Vikings. There's a Raven in here, there's Ghosts, there's EMPs, 3-3 just finished up. I mean, these carriers are getting better upgrades, but it's still only on +2 attack, and once +3 armor finishes up, like the carrier DPS isn't actually what...
Oh! I mean, those are some pretty brave High Templars just walking forward. They get a couple storms off. They dropped a feedback, I think, just on a medevac. I mean, now they're going to morph into an Archon, which gets killed. That was... I mean, there's 8 more High Templar around. They're not really showing themselves just yet, though. Is Zest trying to... But yeah, I see the ones in the prison. I guess the rest are at home defensively.
Yeah, just I mean, he needs to. There's no supply left over to do anything. This fight isn't looking too great for Zest yet. Storm's not really hitting the carriers yet. Carriers just falling there. They're little paper planes. Once the EMPs actually do end up hitting, now we are seeing some trades, and Zest has a massive bank here. 16 gateways as well behind this. He has 3-2 upgrades on his ground. No shield upgrades as of yet. To be fair, against EMP, not sure how useful that would be. But the carrier's role is pretty much played out in this game, in this fight. And I think Cure's going to be happy with that fight.
Anti-armor missile fighters are going to be seeing the rest of our Zealots just warped in on the right side. That's the power of Zest, right? He's got a huge bank. So you can warp right into this with obviously lower tech units. If he wants to reinforce quickly, he's going to send disruptors forward again. Man, I gotta say the disruptors keep on connecting. Even if it's just a couple of bar units every time, it is chipping away at this Cure army, which obviously chips away at his bank and his ability to rebuild. Blinks up for Liberator. Carriers are going to try and get involved, and I mean, there's only 2 of them, so the Interceptor count really is just not good enough to do anything. My problem with Zest's army is that it's just getting worse and worse. Like, he's filling the gaps with Zealots, and he's not rebuilding any of the real tech.
Yeah, this is the moment Cure has the possibility to counterattack, Zest is in so much trouble. Because once these lips siege up, I don't see a way in hell that Zest is going to break that. With what? He has Zealots, 27 Zealots, 9 Stalkers, 3 Disruptors, and two half-failed carriers. Now, he can get pickups on the side. There is so much in air supply here that the moment Cure isn't in position, this army is great. But the moment Cure is in position, this army will just fall apart. Now, we have a Liberator being sent out to try and pull Zest out of position and be like, hey, if you go back here and you allow me to kind of set up, this is going to be a different fight. By the way, we see Zest behind for the first time in units lost really here in this game. Before he was always trading well, but now he's just been throwing away unit after unit. His bank is slowly but surely declining. He loses the prison with the 2 Templar in it. He has the only splash he has remaining is a single Disruptor and the Templar that just got EMP'd, the last Disruptor fired. This is it. I think Cure can jump. I think Cure can jump. Cure does not agree and he decides to just kind of let his 5th base die. Is Zest gonna go in here?
Well, I don't know if this is the time to fight at all. He's got some Disruptors coming in from the backside. The Vikings will get rid of the last carry. Here come our Disruptors. They're going to force a split away, which was pretty good. You can see Zest's supply just dropping so quickly, though. Nothing rebuilding from him at all just yet. He's got one more Disruptor shot to fire through. He takes a turn with it. Hits a few bio units on the left-hand side. The overall supplies are going to remain similar, but the Zest rebuild is still going to... Okay, now he's going to build triple Colossus. I mean... He did kill off a lot of the Vikings, so it makes a bit more sense now than ever before, but there's also just Liberators that can zone Colossi out as well.
Yeah. During this fight, by the way, there was 5 Liberators on the right side, absolutely not participating. Yeah. That was kind of painful for Cure. Understandable that you leave at least 1 over there, but 5? I mean, that is going to be some of the main DPS in your army. He still got a good trade out of that, but he did lose the 5th base. Zest also wasn't mining from the 5th. We see a nuke actually going down. Is Zest... Okay, Zest sees it. He's gonna get a Disruptor shot on this. Yep. Yes, good job, Zest. That's nice. That's really, really nice. It's a little bit opportunistic there coming out of Cure. Now the 5 Liberators on the right side, they welcome these Zealots with open arms. Like, okay, good luck trying, buddy. We've been here for a while. We know this place. Another nuke is being queued up, by the way, here, coming out of Cure, who kind of gives up on building workers. He has how many orbitals? 6, I see? 6 orbital commands, so there's lots of... mules here, lots of scans. He's trying to look for what his opponent is building, mainly trying to figure out, hey, is there more carriers on the way? Am I going to need Vikings? He decides, no Vikings. I love this move out from Cure on the right side. This is fantastic. He has basically the sieged position at home. And it's like, I'm just going to counterattack. You have an army that shouldn't be able to break my Liberator setups. As long as I'm somewhat in position with 3-4 Liberators per ramp and I have EMPs ready, that should not be possible. And now this army of Cure kind of goes unchecked. There's no Templars anymore here. This base is going to fall. Sure, not the biggest of deals. There's only a single gas really that is mining, but it breaks open that right side completely. Now we see a scan forward coming out of Cure. Are we going to be seeing Cure actually move out and do something with his main army?
Am I crazy? He just abandoned these units. I guess they could obviously lose the medevacs, but...
I don't think that would... Yeah, that was weird.
That's just a lot of units to lose, right? I mean, he gets a few Zealots, sure, but it's not like he's got the money just to replace bio units for days upon days. He's on 4 bases that are mining out. He needs to move to the 5th base soon. That's harder with less units on the map.
Yeah, that was painful. That was very, very painful, especially because if he keeps that right side army alive, you have a serious threat on that right side. That base is never going to go up for Zest. Zest, by the way, only on a single, okay, 1.5 mining base. Good siege up here for Cure. These Disruptors, they're still hitting on the edges every single time. I don't quite understand how that happens. Well, that Disruptor is not going to hit anything. This base is gone.
Yeah.
We have a DT spot. Look at these 2 lips, man. They never left. They're here. Yep. Yes. Like, holy crap.
That's like, I'll go elsewhere.
Yeah, but... there's a little bit of army everywhere at this point. I think Cure did spot the carriers, right? Again, the rebuild on the carriers. He's restarting Viking production. Cure's playing one hell of a game, by the way. He really, really is. Oh, DT's gonna get found out. Good scan coming out of Cure. He's gonna be able to get... Whoa, oh my god, they got away.
Just squeezes out of there as Zest. He has to come back, deal with the Liberator on the right side. He lost 30 probes. His economy is in shatters right now. He needs to do something, Zest. He needs to kind of find a fight, because if he doesn't find a fight and deny this bottom left base, Cure gets the mining he needs to really capitalize and just extend the army advantage out.
Yeah, a couple of decent blink backs here. The army control out of Zest, by the way, has been fantastic. It's just the army composition at times, which makes me cringe a little. I feel like this is an army that's like, yeah, this is a scary army, and obviously Cure needs to respect that. Actually, Zest still has a chance of breaking here. It's going to be able to get a command center here.
That's gonna bet though.
Well, it's gonna go down. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Orbital on the far left, by the way, and this is what can be very tricky if you defend with lips a lot. Is that you need to constantly reposition, and this fifth base is very far out to the left. Oh, look at this Liberator top right. Look at that Raven. That Raven's been alive since like the 7-minute mark, by the way. Vikings doing big work here. Need to be careful. Can't all die. There's not that much anti-air left here.
Kind of felt like the bio gave up on the Vikings a little bit, so the carriers got a chance to go in and fight on their own for a while, and that definitely helps. Both the players are sitting around that 100 army supply, and we've got Disruptors ready to go. We've got a Colossus or two still mixed into this. Those carriers are still going to be difficult to get rid of. Zest, he's not even got full interceptors on these carriers right now.
No, they did. A lot of them died. He also just lost all of his Storm once again. I think Cure needs to defend that base. Cure agrees with me, move forward. Oh my god, gets the Raven Seeker missile back in time somehow for this fight. And this is going to be it most likely. Cure is not actually winning this fight. What in the world is going on? There was no splash left whatsoever.
Yeah.
If he loses this left side base, this is his mining.
Yeah,
That's it for him.
This is all he's got left to build with. These carriers right now feel like they're kind of powering through for Zest. The interceptor count's starting to go down, especially as new Marines and Ghost show up from the right-hand side. So now these carriers won't do much. A Storm shows up out of somewhere to try and help out. There's the Colossus still in the background as well. I mean, this is just a ridiculous fight. It's kind of medevacs and just a handful of Marines. Zest is going to go back and deny these fresh mules. He doesn't want to let Cure get any extra minerals. The army supplies Harstom are 51 to 51.
Yeah, and we've not seen any mining from Zest on that right side base for a long time. That Liberator's been doing God's work. Absolutely recall back to that top side base. The Liberator on Siege's Cure is so ridiculously good at this game. It does not make any sense. Scans the left side, is aware, hey, no mining for Zest, no mining for me. And he starts long distance mining. The left base is floating another orbital command over. Another scan on the Rich Vespine Geyser base here coming out of Cure. He's like, okay, you actually do have nothing. Should be aware that the income is going to be close to 800-900 minerals a minute. Zest moving forward here. 22 interceptors back in stock. There's 2 storms in this army. EMPs are going to be... They need to be perfect. They need to hit these Templars. These Templars can't storm. Oh my god, that's a perfect EMP.
That's exactly what he needed. The Colossus is going to have a work to do, though, against those Marines, and he is doing it. That one Colossus is picking up so many kills. It has 25 at the moment, and it helps these carriers to push on through. The Medevacs chased away, and another base on the right side going to go down alongside over a third of the remaining SCVs in the game for Cure, who does also set up the bottom left, though, so mining in different locations, just constantly trying to get up as much as possible. I mean, Zest is drained for cash. He needs an assimilator or 2 top right. He's actually starting to get some minerals up, but he needs gas now.
Yeah, and Cure just dropped 4 mules again as the DT marches in. I'm like, oh no, not for a second time. This is a second mule. Basically, the second muling that gets completely denied, but says good blink out of there. So in these small armies in general, his micro has been fantastic this series. Let's be real here. There was a phase in the mid game here where this army comp lacked any real sense of purpose in my opinion, but now that he's back into these carriers, he's looking strong. The only problem I see for him here, and the thing where he might struggle a little bit, is that he can't really afford any extra splash. And really, this army is being held together by this one single Colossi with 29 kills.
Yeah.
Once this dies, the Marines actually don't have a counter anymore.
Yeah, that one Colossus has been an absolute MVP in multiple fights at this stage. As we're going to clean up a bit on the right side. And killing this orbital is a big deal, right? Any mule you can take away from Cure right now, anything to slow him down is massive. As Zest really just works his way through this right-hand side, and well, and obviously that means he can maybe focus a bit more on the left. Zealots in a DT show up. They're going to deny a refinery, but they can't go further forward because of the Liberators, so Zest will just back away. I think Zest is realizing that he's actually in a comfortable position just expanding forward, and with an army on the right that he actually doesn't think can die.
Yeah, I think Zest really projecting his lack of gas there onto Cure. He's like, let me take down that refinery real fast. And Cure's like, oh, that's okay, buddy. I have 830 gas in the bank. I just want Marines right now. And we have another Templar warping. That's very important. I'm not sure if there's enough here for Cure. I'm not sure if there is enough here for Cure. Huge EMP. He's gonna need to focus on taking out that Colossi. That's not what's going to happen in this fight, though. Colossi once again going absolutely ham on these Marines. Prism coming in. I'm not sure what it's going to be doing, but there's just simply not enough anti-air. 20 interceptors left remaining. This has been one of the craziest games I've seen in a long time. Feedback on the medevac as he was lacking 5 energy for a storm, and this is actually just it. This is actually just it. 49 supply for Zest against the 30 army supply for Cure. And Cure, oh my god, this is GG.
Wow.
0.
What a ridiculous game, man. These fights on the bottom side were just ridiculous. Like, so close through and through. And we just came out on equal supply again and again. The fight that Zest won when there was no splash damage in particular was just like, how did that happen? Absolutely ridiculous way to finish the series.